Ask the Messengers, the program that deals with substance abuse, real people telling real stories. Hosted by Pastor Lester Lewis, co-host Charlize Wilkerson and Leroy Carey. Produced by David Humphreys. Where there is addiction, there is a chance for recovery. We're trying to help save lives on Ask the Messengers.
Today on Ask the Messengers, we deal with addictions in entertainment. Our guests today include Nedra Ruffin, daughter of famous Temptation David Ruffin, and Mike Brock, who is from the Dramatics. Also, Dave Banks, who sang with Enchantments. Also with us is Dr. Linda, who is an MD, and she's going to share firsthand her experience with addicts and overdoses. Also with us, our street reporter, LaShawn Battle, and our staff person, Ashley Greaser. Let's go now to addictions in entertainment. Welcome to the show. I am Lester Lewis, your host. And on today, we have special guests with us, Nedra Ruffin, who was with us before, and also our street reporter, LaShawn Battle, also Dr. Linda. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. Nedra, listen, last time we were on the show, we dealt with some of the issues with your dad and his addictions, and as well, it was supposed to be about you. So we first and foremost want to say to you, please forgive us, but so many have responded to what you were talking about concerning your dad, and we want to give you a chance because one of the issues that arose in our YouTube videos is that we cut you off before you had a chance to share about the Illuminati. So
right, they said it was me.
Yeah, they said it was LaShawn. They said that she was responsible.
Was
me. So we want to make sure that everybody knows. And so LaShawn, go on, tell us about it.
Yeah. So the guest said that I cut you off when you started to talk about the Illuminati.
Yes, the Illuminati is real. They exist. They are in reality. And the reason I say that is because when my father passed away on June 1st, 1990, we wanted to get a second autopsy, me and my sisters and my brother. And my dad's oldest brother, who was not in the entertainment business, my Uncle Quincy, set my daddy 3 daughters down, and it wasn't my brother but the daughters. And he said, if y'all do another autopsy, one of y'all gonna be laying right next to him. And we never did the second autopsy because my uncle told me that we wasn't gonna make it, that somebody was gonna do something to us, you know. And at one point in my life as a child, my daddy had filed something against Motown, and my daddy ended up hurt, and then we ended up with bodyguards going to public school, you know. And the Illuminati, 2 weeks before my dad passed away, he called Farrakhan. Farrakhan spoke over an hour at my dad's homegoing on June 1st, 1990. And Farrakhan had a personal talk with David's daughters and our mother. And he was the one who had entwined us about the Illuminati and said that my dad called him 2 weeks before his death and said that he wanted out. He wanted out of something. And Farrakhan told him that he'd be back in 2 weeks, and they would get together and they would talk about it, and he would help get him out of whatever he was in. Whatever he wanted out of, 2 weeks later, he was deceased. When my daddy flew here from Philadelphia, his body was flown. My daddy talked to me. I was the last person to literally have a physical conversation with my dad just a couple of hours before his death. My dad was sober. Dennis and Eddie say he had been sober the whole European trip. Yeah, relapse is a reality, but it's not a requirement. My daddy said he was clean. My daddy said he found some property he wanted to buy in Vegas. My daddy told me he gonna buy me that car I always wanted. He was clean. But guess what? When I examined his body, Swan says, I want to see my dad. And when I examined him with my mother and my siblings, I pulled the sheet off of him. My daddy had scratches all on his neck, his chest, his knees were scraped up, top of his feet was scraped up. Whatever he did, he fought somebody for his life. He had a good fight he put up with somebody. See, ain't nobody said that.
Well, Nedra, and we talked about this in our opening. You have on YouTube, our YouTube channel, over 200,000 people have looked at that video and talked about it. LaShawn, can you just kind of key into, because there's a lot of things that was on there, a lot of people had comments on there. Can you kind of talk about that?
Yes. So I want to apologize to y'all for one, cutting her off. That's why she's back. I want you to know that whatever you want me to do, all you got to do is go on our Facebook page, ask me, and I'll make it happen. I've also asked Nedra to respond to some of y'all comments.
Yes, I will.
So that she can interact with you. Because
Yes,
we're real people telling real stories.
All right. Let's get back, because again, we wanted just to give you a chance to speak to that, and obviously you have been in the large legendary shadow of your dad, but you know, and again, we talked about your recovery, you as well.
Yes.
You're going through that as well. So tell us about your story and how you're doing with your recovery.
My story is I'm Nedra, truly grateful, blessed, recovering addict. You know, I'm part of a 12-step program, and I have 26 years of recovery up under my belt, because staying clean is not enough. You know, I work the steps, the 12 steps, the 12 traditions, and the 3 spiritual principles: honesty, open mind, and willing in me and all my affairs every day that I'm blessed to wake up. Recovery is my life. Recovery is a part of my life.
How do you maintain staying clean today?
Pardon me?
How do you maintain staying clean today? What are some of the steps that you take to to keep your sobriety where you at?
Step one. Step one is a step of powerlessness. Anything I know that I'm powerless over, I have to give all that power to God. I can't do it. I can't carry it. I can't make it happen. The only thing I can do on my end is footwork. And if ain't nothing coming after that.
Right. And with the footwork comes, like for me, making meetings, calling my sponsor, doing the step work, you know, helping sponsor young ladies. Do you sponsor young ladies?
True. No, I sponsor no women right now because of health issues. I'm just coming out of a realm of some serious health issues.
So let's now talk with Dr. Linda, and she's going to share the connection between children of addicts and how they get into addiction. Can you talk to us about that?
So I spoke to Nedra before coming on the show, and her story is so precious. But what's most heartbreaking to me is that most children of addicts have been exposed or in an environment that exposes them to the addiction.
And Doc, not to interrupt you, but we did a segment regarding parents, is it your fault? And because they expose their children early, and so you are kind of confirming what we were talking about in our earlier shows.
And that's what science, medical science, whether you believe it or not, has shown that exposure to these drugs and alcohol early on sets this child up for a future of addiction. And parents don't intentionally do it. It happens because of their lack of knowledge.
So as a parent, again, if I'm in addiction, I have no idea, and you talked about it being a deficiency of the brain and mental issues. And so we didn't even see it as that when we were. That's just the drunk uncle. That's just our cousin who on crack, whatever. Again, can you kind of speak to how that environment gets that child into the place to where they struggle themselves?
Well, what we know now, and of course we were ignorant early on, that maybe the addict could just stop, that they didn't have the motivation to quit. But what we're learning now, just like diabetes and heart disease, they didn't ask for it. Their parents gave it to them. They may have made some wrong decisions along the way to start that, but that was the only choice they had, that first choice. Then after that, the brain chemistry changes such that without the drug, they're not the same. And it's a cycle of reward, and just like if you ran 5 miles. But I will tell you now that once you've tried it and it makes you feel good, you're going back.
We've got to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to have, and Dr. Linda is going to hang out with us for some more. We want to listen. Thank you so much, Nedra, for sharing your story and talking about your dad. And we're going to return with Mike Brock, who is former singer of the Dramatics, and also with Dave Banks, who was with Enchantment. Don't go anywhere. Ask the Messengers is talking about addictions and entertainment when we return.
After receiving a delinquent property tax bill for the 2 lots connected to my home, I was concerned. I didn't even know that I had a past due bill. I went down to the Wayne County Treasurer's office, and the staff worked with me to keep my property out of foreclosure.
My property taxes became delinquent after I fell behind on my bills. Treasurer Sabri and his staff came to the town hall in my city and provided information about resources available to help me. At the meeting, I found out about payment plan options.
Let us help you. Our goal is 0 owner-occupied properties getting foreclosed and going to the auction. Come down to our office at 400 Monroe in downtown Detroit on the 5th floor. Call 313-224-5990 during our normal business hours from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and until 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. Or email textinfo@waynecounty.com for assistance. Take the first step. Contact our office today.
It worked for us.
Changing an addict's life and providing support to the addict's family is the goal of the Live Right Structure Recovery Corps. Free yoga and spiritual recovery classes on Thursday, automotive maintenance class, and physical nutritional classes on Friday. Visit their new residential recovery resource center located at 27700 Gratiot Avenue in Roseville, Michigan. Live Right also accepts donations of cars, trucks, boats, and campers in any condition. For more information and a complete list of their events, go to their website at liverightstructuredcorp.com or call 586-217-5899. Life short, live right.
Stay tuned for more of Ask the Messengers.
We all know how hard it is to find great deals for insurance. That's why you got to come and see me, Cousin Alex, located conveniently at 7 Mile and Schaefer. If you do have tickets, you do have accidents, I get it. Come on by my office and let me show you how I can get you that low down payments. So now you know where we at. Now you know who you need to come and see. Cousin Alex got you.
Call Cousin Alex at 313-340-4444. And don't forget to tell him, Ask the Messenger sent you. Welcome back to Ask the Messengers. If you are just joining us, we have been dealing with addictions in entertainment. Joining me in this segment is Dr. Linda. She is going to share some information from the medical side of addictions. Also, I have with me, I've got royalty in the room. I have Mr. Mike Brock with me. He is a singer from the Dramatics and the Four Tops. He's going to share his story of addiction as well. I have Mr. Dave Banks, who is from Enchantment. He was from the very beginning of the group. Hey. And so he's going to share how he remained clean through all of that mess that went on in the entertainment industry. Yeah. And so let's start with Dr. Linda, and she's going to share with us some information regarding entertainers and addictions.
So in terms of entertainers, we know that there's a long list of entertainers that went down from addiction. And the thread that we find is very common is that they've had some form of a neglect, or there's been a family dysfunction that has exposed them to addiction. But come on, guys, the biggest problem is that their genes that their mama and daddy gave them. And that is that they do have a degree of brain dysfunction. And this brain dysfunction is filled not with the good things like people, fun, but with drugs, alcohol, cocaine, heroin. And I see it daily in my practice.
All right. So now listen, we have with us again, Mike Brock is here. And
thank you.
Mike, will you tell us some of your story, man, and how you ended up with your addiction?
Sure, Reverend. Like the doctor was saying, it's biological and from the environment. My dad, my mom, and the people I worked with, like Ron Banks and Lenny Mays, and the people from the industry, the music industry, influenced me at an early age. I started using when I was 11 years old.
Wow, 11.
And I want to just say that this show is such a blessing because coming here today, I'm still at crossroads with my addiction, with gambling, sex, and drugs, alcohol.
Thank you for being
transparent,
by the way. Thank you for being transparent.
It's not a problem, not a problem, because this is a serious epidemic. It's a serious show, and I want to live. I'm blessed with a beautiful wife, grandchild, and a home, and 30 years clean from drugs and alcohol and the life of crime. But thanking God, but I struggle. I struggle on a daily basis. My wife has put up with me and lived with me and loved me, although I haven't been the most loyal guy in the world. And I'm saying this to help somebody because I was speaking with Leroy prior to in the green room, and he was letting me know that I'm blessed and not to be so hard on myself. And with implementing music therapy into helping the stress and the anxiety and the people with
Mike,
mental illness.
So Mike, tell us this. People think that because you're an entertainer, you got all the things that you would absolutely want. You got fame, fortune. Why would you want to move into and do drugs, anything like that? What was your motivation in doing so?
Low self-esteem. Right. I was molested as a child, and I'm not ashamed to say, because shame and guilt deals with the emotions, and which leads you to wanting to fill that void. And I did crack cocaine, heroin, marijuana, and alcohol. Those are my drugs of choice.
All right. So now, listen, we also have with us Dave Banks. Now, Dave, you have a whole different dynamic to your story. You were in the entertainment for years, and I ain't trying to tell your age. I ain't trying to, right. I ain't trying to tell how many centuries you've been involved, but but man, listen, you remain clean. Can you tell us how in the world were you in the entertainment industry and not get involved and get addicted?
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna say completely clean, because I have drank the alcohol, I have gambled, but I haven't had any addictions where I had to I'm just totally out of control. But yeah, I've been around other entertainers while we were on the road and seen them indulge and just totally out the box. But you get caught up when you might have some issues, and then I think it makes you lean over to wanting to involve yourself into drugs or gambling or something, just for that moment. But after you pacify that moment, the problem is still there. So why get involved? So now I want to move very quickly. We got just a few minutes. So Mike, let me ask you this question. Sure. How do you remain clean? What is the, I'm not quote unquote, the magic formula for you?
I've been so many places.
Come on now,
in my life and time.
That's what we've been waiting on. That's what we've been waiting on right there.
But I just want to say, it's gonna be all right. The angels are watching over you. Right. Regardless of what you go through, feeling guilt and shame or whatever, the way that I make it is I attend NA and AA meetings. I have a sponsor. I have the literature, and I just try not to be so hard on myself. And I really want to thank Tina Nelson for inviting me down to this show today. Right. And I really appreciate each and every one of you, because it's all in helping my road to recovery.
All right, now listen, Mike, you took the mic and dropped it, but now I need Dave to pick it up, and we want to hear a rip from you, sir, and tell us again what would be your advice to someone as to and relates to how to remain clean.
Well, my advice to someone is don't mess with it at all, and try to stay focused, and a lot of prayer, and keep your mind focused on life, because things change in a matter of a minute or a second. It could be that you could be down one minute and you could be up another. Yes. So praise the Lord. Amen.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. Listen, I want to thank you guys so much for your story, and Dave Banks and Mike Brock, and thank you guys so much. And once again, Dr. Linda, you gonna hang out with us again, because don't go nowhere now. We got some more. We get some more show coming, and coming up also we're gonna have with us a staff person, Ashley Greaser, as well as LaShawn Battle, our street reporter, is going to be returning, and we're going to be talking more about addictions in entertainment. Ask the Messengers. We'll be right back.
We all know how hard it is to find great deals for insurance. That's why you got to come and see me, Cousin Alex, located conveniently at 7 Mile and Schaefer. If you do have tickets, you do have accidents, I get it. Come on by my office and let me show you how I can get you that low down payments. So now you know where we at. Now you know who you need to come and see. Cousin Alex got you.
Call Cousin Alex at 313-340-4444. And don't forget to tell him, Ask the Messenger sent you. Changing an addict's life and providing support to the addict's family is the goal of the Live Right Structured Recovery Corps. Free yoga and spiritual recovery classes on Thursday, automotive maintenance class, and physical nutritional classes on Friday. Visit their new residential recovery resource center located at 27700 Gratiot Avenue in Roseville, Michigan. Live Right also accepts donations of cars, trucks, boats, and campers in any condition. For more information and a complete list of their events, go to their website at liverightstructuredcorp.com or call 586-217-5899. Life short, live right.
We'll be right back with more of Ask the Messengers.
After receiving a delinquent property tax bill for the 2 lots connected to my home, I was concerned. I didn't even know that I had a past due bill. I went down to the Wayne County Treasurer's office, and the staff worked with me to keep my property out of foreclosure.
My property taxes became delinquent after I fell behind on my bills. Treasurer Sabri and his staff came to the town hall in my city and provided information about resources available to help me. At the meeting, I found out about payment plan options.
Let us help you. Our goal is 0 owner-occupied properties getting foreclosed and going to the auction. Come down to our office at 400 Monroe in downtown Detroit on the 5th floor. Call 313-224-5990 during our normal business hours from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and until 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. Or email textinfo@waynecounty.com for assistance. Take the first step. Contact our office today.
It worked for us.
I'm Artesia Washington, and I'd like to welcome you to Irvine Head Injury, where restoring you to your previous level of functioning is our goal. We offer services such as physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and language pathology, aquatic therapy, massage therapy, and counseling. An automobile accident is an unfortunate event. If you feel that you or a loved one can benefit from our services, you can be reached at 248-415-2500. We look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome back to Ask the Messengers. Today we're talking about addictions in entertainment, and with me, our special guest, Dr. Linda. She has been talking about and sharing with us some of the aspects of medicine. As well, we have with us our staff person, Ashley Greaser, is with us on the discussion table today. Dr. Linda, you have done some research and told us about some of these entertainers. We know that Prince and Michael Jackson and Amy Winehouse and some of the other entertainers that are popular. Tell us about some of these other entertainers that passed away or in their addictions or were addicted and died.
So, Pastor, you are right. The list is this long of those who have died from addiction. Right. Now, if the music like Marvin Gaye that he brought to us, and What's Going On and everything, could have soothed his heart like he soothed ours, that would be amazing. But Marvin Gaye died from his addiction. April 1st, I thought it was a joke when he died. April 1st, 1984, and he died at the hands of his dad in his cocaine addiction. Now, I talked about that sometime earlier today, that what set him up for failure was the fact that at least the literature says, or at least the research I've done, and I've heard him actually talk about the relationship with his parents and the neglect that he had from his dad. And that led him down the road to addiction.
We go right back to, again, what we talked about. Parents, is it your fault? You know, we are, parents have a responsibility in this. And, you know, all of us as parents and family members, people are watching us. And when they watch us, they see our behavior, they key in on that. And that contributes to some of their addictions or things they end up doing in life.
So when we do things like we neglect our children, and parents, once again, don't do it intentionally, but it's a lack of knowledge on their part, but that sets our children up for failure in the future.
And you know, what ends up happening is many of the entertainers, we begin to gossip about, you know, what happened and speculate what happened, and none of us really understand. But Ashley, you did some research also that there are some who kicked the habit, that they were addicted, but now they kicked the habit and now they're living and they're in recovery.
Well, yeah, just like Smokey Robinson. A lot of people didn't know that he did have an addiction it was a short addiction, but he did use alcohol and drugs. He actually was addicted for about 3 years, and then he had found hope through his friend Leon Kennedy, and he kicked the addiction. He said that he was like a walking corpse.
That's right.
Wow. Somebody who made all those wonderful songs, and he's empty on the inside himself.
Right. That's what they say, though. You know, you can appear to be happy, but you have so much going on inside. And as an entertainer, you're supposed to be this face all the time, and that's not the case with a lot of the entertainers.
I actually saw from Smokey a quote when you started talking about it. He said he kicked that addiction. If Leon wasn't there day and night with him as he went through withdrawal, he would have never made it. And that points out a key point to kicking addiction. You need the support of others. And then you can't do it alone.
And then you also don't know who God will send.
That's
because I remember that Leon, he's from the penitentiary movies and all the other stuff.
That's right.
And it's like, wow, he was the man that God used.
He was the man that God used. And Smokey went on to say in a quote, he said, unless you get your spiritual self together, because your body is just not flesh and blood, but it consists of a spirit. So we not only have to get these bodies together and get out of addiction, we have to get our spirits together.
Right. Now, Ashley, also you have the DeBarge family, right?
Well, we all know the DeBarge family. Almost all of them struggle from addiction. El DeBarge is actually in recovery right now. He has 10 years clean. Chico DeBarge, he still indulges in marijuana, so I don't know if he's technically clean or not. Right. But Kim has made a drastic change. He has 29 years clean this year. Wow. We all know, he's from Detroit.
We talked about many of the folk who are in Motown and how they were addicted and got into drugs. Can you tell us now what role, if any, did Berry Gordy have in that process?
Well, I've had the pleasure of reading Berry Gordy's book, and in there it talks about how he warned all of his entertainers of how the business was and that they needed to save their money. And as a businessman and the owner of the company, he quote unquote didn't have time to babysit adults, and which I kind of understand what he's saying because he has so much going on. And in the book, he talks about how he just has so many pressures himself and how he wanted to give the company up, but he kept Motown alive for the fans.
Thank you guys so much for just allowing you to share that information. And again, we've been talking about addictions in the entertainment industry, but today we want you to know that the message that we want to give is this, speaking to entertainers, but also speaking to the common person, is that things are not always what they seem. Just because there's a smiling face does not mean that there's also a smiling spirit. And so we need to pray and lift up people and to help them in any way that they possibly can be helped. And again, we talked about how they're on stage, they're entertaining, they're filling us with joy, but they're empty on the inside. And so we want to continue to provide programming like this so that we can give resources and help to those who are in need. We want to thank you so much for just sharing with us, Dr. Linda, and also to our staff people here on Ask the Messengers. Listen, please, if you've got something that you want to share in your heart, go to our inbox. Inbox us. We want to hear from you, and we want you to know that we will answer your questions on the air. And again, thank you again for tuning in to Ask the Messengers. We appreciate you so very much. And again, love is what love does. And here at Ask the Messengers, we want to love you to life.